Did you see that post?
People are talking.
Here's what's trending on the Rickey Smiley Morning Show.
A mother is speaking out because she fears that her son could become a menace to society when he grows up.
Right, Rickey. A mother is concerned. She feels like her 3-year-old son is doing little things as a kid that might lead him to being dangerous or harmful to others. So he's already gotten caught doing things like cutting his classmates' ponytail and being aggressive with other kids.
So this morning we have faith-based therapist Dr. Tart here to talk about the early warning signs that your child might become a menace to society. Dr. Tart, good morning. Happy to have you.
Glad to be here.
Hey, Dr. Tart, I'm just really having some flashbacks because I just remember a couple of kids in elementary school that was real trouble. They have passed away. And I saw kids from the 2nd, 3rd grade go down a bad road. I'm talking about like hitting teachers back and all that kind of stuff. And so does this mother have a valid reason to be concerned about a child, potentially becoming a danger to others in the future?
Yes. I mean, we start looking at it. We're comparing him against the other 3-year-olds in the classroom, right? And what we know is the biggest predictor of later behavior problems is what the kid is doing before 10. All right. So if kids that don't have emotion regulation and positive discipline, that is a red flag. Head Start teachers will tell you that, pre-K teachers. So if you have a son, we're talking about a son, but this also applies to daughters, and you find that they cannot self-regulate, that means stop themselves, calm themselves down, self-discipline. You say stop and they say okay, or you tell them one more time. If you see them struggling with that, that is a red flag.
Yeah, it almost seems like a blanket, perspective, because we often hear stories about people being, really bad when they were little and then they grow up to be so successful. So like how can you really tell how a child will turn out?
Yeah. Well, if we're looking at the stats, and I don't even like the term menace to society or bad, because we all know. I mean, look at the background. I mean, see what's going on with the parents. Look at what's going on within that family. What is that kid dealing with? Is he getting enough attention? Is he witnessing domestic violence? Is there enough structure at home? Is that kid being paid attention to? And then if we're really looking, I mean, you know how they predict which jails to build? They look at a reading and math scores at age 8. So if you want to do anything, the single biggest thing that you can do other than help your child have self-regulation is make sure they're on grade level. Every teacher's going to tell you this, all right? You look for the kids that are below grade level, they are going to become behavior problems because they are not excelling. So get them into tutoring, do whatever you need to do, spend time. You can get that kid at or above grade level, you can significantly decrease the chances of them having conflict later on.
So, Dr. Tart, what's the difference between the normal kid behavior that they might grow out of it and the behavior of a kid that they might become dangerous?
Yeah, it's chronic. All right. So if we're looking at chronic, right now, we're talking about having a bad period. We're talking about a kid whose parents have divorced or lost a loved one or just struggling academically or changing to a new school and it fades away. Okay, that kid is just having an adjustment issue. But if you're talking about something that's been present since pre-K, kindergarten, 1st grade, the teacher's saying the same thing about your child, that is when it is time for you to seek counseling. And another thing is...
what's the age? What is the recommended age for therapy for a child, Dr. Tart?
Oh, it can start at 3 or 4. It can start at this play therapy, right? If I used to work in a domestic violence shelter, and all those kids would be aggressive. Guess what they're watching? They're watching their moms and dads, fight, argue, right? They're looking at violence. If you're in a high crime neighborhood, you see this on a regular basis. So those kids need to learn how to express their feelings, how to deal with trauma. And believe it or not, psychologists like myself are trained to deal with kids as young as 3 and 4 and 5 and do what's called play therapy to help them to act out their emotions and find out what's going on to reset the home to be more functional and get them away from the violence.
Yeah, and Gary can attest to this, Dr. Tart. My son, Malik, was kicked out of 3 schools, was bad, had some real bad behavior, went toward others, just real defiant. And I really do think having a male presence, and I would just tell anybody this, any male, uncle or somebody that care about the child that has, some discipline and some structure for the child, that always helps. Dr. Tart, he'll be getting his master's degree in May, but being kicked out of 3 schools or whatever, I didn't know what we was going to be dealing with.
No.
Because that was something.
Yeah, congratulations. So we have to look at a couple of things. It's not just having them around men, Ricky, like you said. It's around good men. Because unfortunately, having your son around the wrong man actually can increase criminal activity. If the father, the uncle, the brothers, the next door neighbors, the friends of your sons and daughters are engaged in criminal activity, that significantly increases because who you're around. But we also have to guard for ADHD and being off task and not having the right teachers and not feeling competent. Kids need structure and competence. It's hard to find a kid who's struggling when they feel like they are good at something and they're able to do their work and they have structure and discipline and someone who loves them. All right, that's a good combination to make sure that our kids are on track and doing well. We have to raise them. Quick warning sign. If your kid's off grade level right now, that is a warning sign. Don't just say, okay, poor test scores. That is a red flag. Immediately, let me do what I need to do to find out how to get my child to focus, get on task, and read on or above grade level in reading and math. If we get it early, second, third grade, we can stop this prison pipeline.
And, I had that problem, too. I had a lot of discipline problems coming up. And I think if it weren't for my granddad and 2 or 3 of my uncles putting me in place, and you got your Coach Jones and your Coach Critton in high school, it was just a bunch of, like you said, Dr. Tart, thank you for correcting me, a bunch of good men in place to set those boundaries. It really helped me out, so that's so important. My God, that's something. I'm just sitting up here having flashbacks because I can talk to you about this, about this all day because I have nephews and stuff. We had to step up and go ahead, Maria. I know you have some because you got kids too.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to ask because I'm married and we have 4 children and we have a blended family. Before I met my husband, I was a single mother and I was doing the best that I could with the resources that I had. And I know you talk about, getting help and making sure you're present. Not everyone has the ability to do that, especially if you are a struggling single mother. And I still remember it clear as day, even though I've been married for 15 years. How can people in the community come together and help single mothers? Like, what are signs that we should look out for? Because when I see a single mother struggling, I want to get involved and help her because I see myself in her.
When we start talking about, single mothers, I like when we start talking about the absent fathers, right? We put it on the single mother like it's her fault, right? One, men don't have children, but women, you're not going to be involved with raising the children. I don't care how unpopular that is, all right? I don't care about the Nick Cannons, the Cam Newtons. Have children with people you're going to raise, all right? Actively in your home office, the blended family. You're spending time, so it's not on the single mom. But for the moms out there that are in there, listen, some of the greatest men and women are raised by single moms. Barack Obama, LeBron James, I can go on and on and on. What you want to do is make sure your kid is reading on grade level. You want to get men in the community to come in and show your son how to be a man. You can show him how to shave. You can show him how to be assertive without being aggressive. You can show him how to be ambitious, how to be resourceful, how to be gritty and resilient when you make a mistake, how to get back out and start that math problem again, or catch that football, or dance, or write better. So you don't necessarily, it's not the fact that it's a single mom, it's the attitude of that single mom. How high does she believe her kids can go? If you find that to be high, that mom's going to do everything possible, from getting her kid in 100 Black Men, getting her kid in mentoring, tutoring him or her herself to make sure that he's successful. It is all about our attitude and our access to resources.
Dr. Tart, let everybody know how you can be reached.
Yeah, let's go to my website, drtart.com. That's drtart.com. Or visit me on Instagram at drtartt.
There it is, y'all. More Rickey Smiley. Thank you, Dr. Tart. We appreciate you. More Rickey Smiley Morning Show coming up.